Everybody, welcome. Whew, I need to clean my glasses. Welcome everybody. My name is Vija Williams. I am with the Kinney companies, and we are here because it is Wednesday at noon Pacific time. We do agent training webinars every single Wednesday, and we tackle very tactical issues that you're experiencing right now. And our goal is that you walk out of every single one of these webinars with 2 to 3 things you can use within an hour, right? Pretty ambitious goal, and I think we nail it almost every time. And that's because of our amazing guests. Today we have our one of our most popular webinar guests we've ever had. Sarita got, I think, 12,000 views. The last time she was on, she got a ton of views. It was a lot. And so I begged her to come back. And when I say beg, I am kind of not exaggerating. I think I asked her like 5 times. And she's one of my BFFs, and she still said no over and over again. But I have tenacity, and she is back for you.
And she didn't really ask. She kept telling me that I was going to do it.
All right. So before we jump into Sarita, we are doing something really, really different next week. We've never done this before. So this is going to be an experiment. I'm going to be my own guest. I'm going to be the guest next week. Open houses are back almost everywhere in the country. And I trust myself more than I trust almost anybody to train you guys on open houses. So I'm going to teach you a method I use, very simple. There's no hot dog stands. There's no, expense involved. I'm going to teach you very, very simple, basic, foundational things, including the script and mindset and approach that I have used for years, that I've trained my agents on for years, and that literally all the agents in our brokerages in our world have used for years to make millions of commission dollars. So I'm gonna come on next week. We've never done it this way before. I'm probably gonna pull somebody on to be a co-host. Who do you think would be a good co-host? Let me know in chat if you think someone would be a good co-host, because I don't want to just be alone. So I'm gonna have to have somebody. I think Sarita would be really good. My brother's saying he's available.
Right.
No.
You're ignoring him.
All right. Sarita, how are you? Thank you for being here.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Thanks for drafting me. Yeah.
I just realized, was I talking over music that whole time?
I couldn't hear it.
Okay. Could you guys hear me okay?
Let's see. Somebody tell us if you can hear us.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, okay, good. That was great. Okay, good. So it was your sound, not mine. That's all I care about, but it wasn't my sound. All right. So Sarita, you are in Portland, Oregon, and you are amazing. And, I think all my friends are amazing, but I think you're a little extra amazing because you've just had this awesome business. You stay in it. You stay in the practice, right? Like you still write deals. You're still, you're still negotiating every day. I know, because whenever we go away, I see you do it. And you have this really cool model that you're going to kind of walk us through. You went to MIT and got your MBA last year. You graduated, right? At an age that you and I are, that's, we're not 20 anymore, which is super, super admirable. You have this huge tech background and you just dominate in Portland, Oregon. And that's why we keep having you back. I mean, you're amazing. My agents love you. They ask you for you to speak all the time. They ask, can Sarita come back? Can Sarita come back? Can Sarita come back? We have Simi on today who keeps saying, when am I going to meet Sarita? So we're going to introduce you to Simi after this. But can you kind of tell us a little bit to start with, Sarita, before we dive in today on our topic, right? What to do with buyers right now in a hot market. Can you kind of dive into your model and what your business looks like, kind of how many units you're doing? Just kind of give us a nice overview and background.
Sure. So yes, as Via said, my name is Sarita Dua, Portland, Oregon. I've been here 21 years. I've been in real estate for 18. I've been at Keller Williams since 2010. I want to say 2010. And my model is a bit unique. I have kind of a assembly line model where I have amazing agents that are my buyer's agents. They're really inventory specialists. They really specialize in that puzzle piece between the property and the person and finding that match. That's not just, I hate calling them showing specialists. That they don't just open the door. They don't just show the house. They get into our buyers' heads and figure out what they're saying, what they're not saying, what they're really looking for. And then they are hounds. They're hound dogs in a good way. They find property. They have great agent relationships. They can see there's no such thing to me as a waste of time or a bad showing, because in the 7 minutes we're at a house that doesn't work for a buyer, they can actually see that buyer's reaction on why it doesn't work. And oh, by the way, they had the list, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and every house without a fireplace or every house with a galley kitchen, they're kind of frowning. Well, that means they need a fireplace and they don't want a galley kitchen. And so my buyer's agents are really experts at finding the property for the buyer. In fact, they run around and say it. We're going to find you the house. Sarita will get it for you. So my role is I'm the lead negotiator. I write every offer and I take every listing. And as Via said it, she gave me a lot of great compliments about how I'm so great, blah, blah, blah. It's actually it's not about greatness. I love the deal. I love the win. I love the match. And so therefore I've always been in my business, and I probably always will be, because it is something that I really enjoy and I think I'm good at. And so back to your question about the model, 3 buyer's agents, and then I have a transaction coordinator, a listing manager, and myself. In my apex heyday, 2017 was my best year, 144 units, 80 million, like 78 million, 90 buyers, 54 sellers. I do know my numbers, I will say that. And then the last couple of years, 18 to 20 with MIT and some other things, I've been about half of that, but we've still always been very buyer heavy. We're 65 to 70% buyer base, and 80 to 85% of my business is repeat and referral. I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right. And that's why you're here, Sarita, because you have managed to continue to have a thriving buyer business in a time when a lot of our agents are struggling with their buyer business. And I'm not saying you're not, right? In one of my marketing pieces, I was like, Sarita's not going to tell you it's easy right now. We're not going to sit here and say, here's the easy button, but you are going to kind of walk us through, right, what's working and what's not working right now. How many buyer deals have you put in contract so far this year-ish?
So I was just looking at the numbers. We're like 30, we're about 40 deals in, and we have, of the last 13 deals, we have 10 pending right now, and 10 of them are buyers. 10 or 11 were buyers out of the 13. So and they all close in May. So we've been really busy the last month and a half, putting everyone in escrow with buyers. We don't win them all. There are weekends where I write 9 offers and we get 1 or 2. And I'm the first to admit that we don't write 1 offer per buyer. Like, we write several. I will say there's been some really fun wins where we're getting the buyer on their second one, or even on their first one. On the first one, they don't even know how hard it was. But at the end of the day, there's some things we can control and there's some things we can't. I can't control down payment. I can't control if we have 24 other offers and 23 people. I always say to my clients, if we have 24 offers, we can't worry about what other people are doing, but there's odds that one of those 23 is a lunatic and will overpay like crazy and give up everything. And so therefore you just have to be prepared. So it's all about preparation. And today I am going to walk you through, I'm not an expert by any means, but I will share what has been working to get buyers accepted. But I will acknowledge to everybody, I think we're working 10 times harder to put 1/10 of the buyers in that we have. And so hats off to all buyers agents. One could say, you know what, maybe your marketing shouldn't be, let me look for buyers. Maybe it should be, let me look for sellers. Sellers are like where it's at. But guess what? So many of our sellers are buyers, and we need to know how to manage this thing where they have to buy and sell at the same time. And how do you sequence that and make it work for them?
Well, 100%, we should all be looking for inventory, and we should all be looking for sellers. That goes without saying. And, we all at some point have buyers in our portfolio. For some of us, it's more than others. For some of us, it's less, but we still have to understand how to best navigate buyers, right, in this market. So let's start with what is not working. I want to start with what is not working so that we can end this on a positive note with what is working.
Sure.
So, Sarita, what is not working with buyers right now?
What is not working? I mean, I have a list, and I'm happy we can talk about sharing this list with people.
Oh, it's already uploaded for people.
Oh, it is. Okay, cool.
We're so far ahead.
I think the first one is, and these are not in any particular order. This is just like what came into my head and what I'm seeing, just being in it day. I am in the trenches. I am not one of those team leaders that is hands off and can't relate. I am in it every day. I guess the first thing is what's not working is buyers agents that are not requiring their buyers to be pre-approved and ready to go. We are working with ready to buy buyers. That means their income, their assets, their credit, their price range, everything. They're ready to go. Not these people that they have a lease till October and they kind of want to buy. And oh, by the way, if I come back from kayaking in time, then I'll do it. Like they have to be approved with a lender that you know, like, and respect and has clout in your local market and are ready to go. That is something that's not working if you are working with someone who's not pre-approved. Like that doesn't work for us. Anytime I work with someone who's like, maybe let's just go see a house and I'm working on the pre-approval. Well, if you find it, the minute you've seen it, you're already too late. There's already a deadline. And you're not going to be able to pull off what we need to in a way that can make you shine if you're doing it like last minute. So you have to be pre-approved.
Okay. Is there an exception? Like, let's say you have someone in your database who has, really good finances, right? And you've worked with them before and they reach out to you and they want to go see like a high-end home, because this happens to me. And I know they can afford it. It's fine. But I also know the scramble that it takes to go get pre-approved, like all the documents and whatever. So, I mean, if it's like a good database person like that, would you show a home to them?
There's obviously discretion to everything, but I do think that everyone thinks they're pre-approved, but if they have a house to sell, they have to look at their debt to income. We have to be having the conversation with the lender about appraisal waivers and appraisal contingencies. They have to know how much cash it's going to take min and max to make it happen. So I think the answer, quite frankly, is no. Like I look what we do. I'm already jumping to what you should be doing. Scare the crap out of the buyer. I like literally tell them, let me pull up MLS. Let me show you the data. Let me show you the months of inventory. Do you have the stomach for this? And I like put it out there and set the expectation that like literally a colonoscopy is going to be more fun. And like, you have to be ready. And are you willing to do what it takes? And if they're not, they're not. But like, I don't want to kind of tiptoe around it. Like if they're not willing to talk to a lender and or work with a lender who works 24/7 like we do, like these credit unions that work 10 to 11 Monday through Wednesday, that's not going to cut it. And no offense against everyone who's watching who's great from a credit union, but I do have some experiences where when we're writing, they're not available. And you're getting a better deal potentially, but you're not getting a better deal if you can't get the house. Because we need everything sharpened and ready to go in terms of our toolkit.
Okay, so I'm gonna give a gift to everybody that's watching this. So Sarita, I've had, some amazing people on these webinars, and we have one of the best scripts I've ever heard for buyers, and it's called the ABC script. Do you know that one?
No, you need to tell me what about it.
So good, and we're gonna put it in our Ben Kinney agent training. You can go to that every time you want downloadable scripts. Go to that, and it has a bunch of scripts and everything. It's going to have Sarita's 10 things on there. But the basic gist of that script is that you say, so Sarita, we find there's 3 types of buyers. There's an A, B, and a C buyer. So a C buyer is like, yeah, I'd find a house, I'd buy a house if I found a good deal. I don't really have to move. Right? A B buyer is, I'm pretty motivated to move, and I might even have a deadline, but I really want to get a good deal and I'm not really willing to overpay and waive everything, but I do want to move and I'm pretty motivated. And an A buyer is I will do whatever it takes to get into a house by a certain amount of time. So I'm curious, Sarita, which one are you? And apparently everybody says B. That's like the thing. And so, then the next part of the script, and I'm paraphrasing, and the next part of the script is, so Sarita, these are the A buyers in the market. See all these dots? Every single one of these dots is an A+ buyer. They are willing to do whatever it takes and more to get a house. And you're competing against anywhere from 5 to 15 of them every single home. So unless we're kind of willing to go there, let's talk about what it would take to get you to go from a B to an A buyer. And then you kind of walk through it. I just think it's a really, really good concept, whether you use it, word
I
for
love
word
that.
or not.
I love that because what you're doing is you're conditioning them to what their competition
Yeah.
is. It's
And
the
they're
same script
self-selecting.
on the listing side where they're like, oh, it's a seller's market. I don't have to put my laundry hamper away. It's like, you know what? Let me show you what HGTV living is like. And I know you don't live this way, but this is how we're going to live when we show. And this is what your competition's doing. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So with that said, what's not working is letting buyers go out without a pre-approval,
Yep. And continuing working with buyers that aren't urgent. If we are more available and more willing to show them something than they are, then so back to your ABC script, I have an airplane script that I use where my airplane as Sarita Airlines has first class and coach. And you would think first class is, $1 million or $2 million and higher, and coach is like the entry level condo buyer under 200K. And that is actually not the case. First class seats are people who are ready to buy the minute they see that property, they are going to buy it. That's how you get in my first class. I don't care what price. Why would you be in coach versus first class? Maybe you have credit to clean up. Maybe you're new to the area. Maybe you have a house to sell. Maybe you have a job change you're doing. Maybe you're just not sure on where you're going to buy. And so I tell people I have about 4 to 6 seats in my first class. After 4 to 6 buyers, I can't give first class service to those buyers that are literally homeless and need me. They need my service. And the cool thing is you get to decide your class of service. If you're ready to go now, not 30 days, not 60 days, now you're in first class. Otherwise you're in coach. And guess what? Coach will get us there too. And I will show you houses. However, I may bump you for my first class buyer if they need to see something on Thursday and you have something on Thursday, because you've just admitted to me by not being in first class, you're not ready to buy when we find that property. And literally the question I get all the time is, do you have an extra seat in your first class? We're ready. We want to work. So it's almost a takeaway, right? They want to work with us. And guess what? I have more planes, right? I might have 4 to 6 people, but then my buyer's agents that are amazing, shout out to Lisa, Paula, and Whitney. They all have 4 to 6 seats on their plane too. And guess what? My seats are always recycling because whoever's sitting there, we're going to find them something. They're going to get off the plane and there's going to be a upgrade, right? There's going to be an upgrade opportunity. And what I use, I love travel, so I love that analogy anyways, but when I use that, people get it. It's not about elitism. It's not about price. It's not about credit. It's readiness to buy, nothing else. And that's back to your point via, willing and able and ready to do what it takes.
Yeah. So, I mean, we just have to really be careful where we're spending our time right now with buyers who are not urgent. I couldn't agree more. I think that's really smart. I have heard that script, but I forgot it before. That's good.
So what else isn't working is not setting expectations. Like I said, I talk about the market data. I tell them it's going to be brutal. I tell them I'm not afraid of it, but they need to understand that it's a bloodbath out there and they may not have the stomach for it. If they have that disposition where I was raised where like 10% off asking is still overpaying, you know what, buddy? The deal is getting the house. And let's talk about interest rates. Let's talk about how we're appreciating 1% to 2% per month right now. And let's talk about the data. And if it's, I'm not going to sell you on it. If this isn't for you, this isn't for you. And guess what? If it's not, let's step aside because there's other people, all those dots we had just talked about that are willing to do what it takes. So setting expectations and I think sometimes as agents, we're so grateful we have a client. We don't want to say the bad stuff or the scary stuff, or we don't want to chase them away. But I really do think that being honest, and because guess what? We can't sugarcoat this thing. This is going to be consistent in all the conversations we have, these same expectations. So we set them up front in our consults. My buyer's agents are having those same conversations. Hey, just so you know, I know you want to see 50 houses. We'll be lucky if there's 3. And if we wait till the weekend, they may not even be there. We have to jump on when they pop. What is not working also is not communicating all the time. People are going through a lot of emotion right now, through the whole thing, including even when they get the house, right? I always joke, multiple offers, I tell the buyers, you're going to lose here, right? You're either going to not get the house and be bummed because you started mentally moving in, or, by the way, somebody is me on the panel. I don't know who it is.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, that's fine. And then the other thing is, or you're going to get it. Congratulations, you overpaid, or you did something more than everyone else to get the house, right? So there's still this weirdness of, oh, I got it, now what? So communication is really key, and not communicating is going to get you, even if there's a tough message, like communicating all along to your clients, like, this is, you're the first one in. Okay, now I had a conversation. It's looking like it's going to go out over this. How are you feeling about that? Like, we just constant communication. Another thing that's not working is not assuming deadlines can change. You can't rely on the offer deadlines Monday at 3. You have to be prepared for them pulling it in, them not even honoring it, them getting an offer that's too good to be true. And so again, communication will thwart some of those surprises, but you can't assume things are static.
Okay,
Yeah.
I want to kind of go back to something a little bit though. I kind of want to go back to communication. So, what does it look like? How are you preparing buyers right now? I mean, you went into what's not working, right, is assuming deadlines can't change. So let's use that as an example. What would communication sound like perhaps for that? To explain that, yeah, I know they say they're reviewing offers on Tuesday, but that can change. You know, how I want to know a little bit about what it sounds like if I were a fly on the wall, Sarita, with you and a client.
Well, I think it all happens for me and my buyer's agents. They do a handoff to me. They're going to say, hey, Via and her husband are loving this house and they're digging 123 Main Street. They want to write an offer. They do an offer handoff to me. That's my opportunity to go to Via and be like, I get you're digging this house. Let's talk about it. I first talked to Via about any concern she has, because she's probably freaking out. And guess what? She only had 14 minutes to see the house, like, because there was a line out the door. So she's making one of the biggest decisions in her life in 15 to 25 minutes. So what are you concerned about? What are you afraid of? That kind of makes me human, right? Because I'm like giving her the out. I'm telling her it's normal. Also, I love my buyer's agents, but they're so focused on finding the match, and then they're doing the handoff. I'm not saying that they missed anything, but this is like double redundancy. Like, it's a second set of eyes to make sure between the two of us we've covered the any concerns that the buyer has. Then I walk them through, like a professor at MIT, the 5 parts of an offer. We covered this in our webinar last year. You know, there's 5 parts to an offer: price, earnest money, down, close date, miscellaneous bucket. And let me talk to you about that. And oh, by the way, let's talk about this market and what's going to happen. We talk about timeframes. We talk about offers. Sorry, that's me. We talk about repair contingencies, inspection contingencies, appraisal contingencies, short inspection periods, all the things we can do to make our offer stronger. My value proposition to my buyers is this, and I've had it happen where people have come to me from other buyers or other buyers agents. They're like, Sarita, we came to you because, you know, we lost house after house, but our agent didn't tell us we could do this or we can do that. My goal isn't to tell them what to do. My goal is to give them the menu, a full menu of what they can do. And they're going to decide, wow, for this one, yeah, there might be a deadline on Monday. We're going to submit it strong and upfront. Or, you know what, we're going to go in at asking, we're going to stay in touch. We might do a modification. But a lot of that is me talking to the agent to figure out, what is that agent going to do? I just had one this weekend where we were first in, we were 50K over on a 625-ish price point. The agent's like, and the agent was like, I'm expecting 5 to 10, but I have none. And this was Sunday night and the deadline was Monday. But then he's calling me saying, hey, just in frankness, it's going to go over 7. He was staying in touch with me. I gave my buyer that option. My buyer wouldn't go there, which is fine. It was her call. But do you know how grateful she was to know what it would take and actually be part of the process and part of the decision instead of having the decision made for her? That just comes from communication, as well as setting her up to understand what could happen and why. I was talking to her the whole time, every 2 hours probably. And I was talking to the agent multiple times too. Like, literally, it's your favorite agent. Any update? Like, I was annoying, but nice about it.
You know what that reminds me of, Sarita, and I just want to interject right now because I think it's a good time to bring it up. Is that, you know, remember this, unless those of you, is that yours or mine?
Excuse me, I gotta just ding it. I don't know how to turn notifications on.
Unless those of you watching who are on-site new build or new construction agents, right? Our sales process actually ends when our clients sign an agreement to work with us. Our sales process ends. From there, we're into transaction mode, finding them a home, right?
We're consultative. I mean, yeah, we're going to find
We go
something.
into transactional mode. And so I think what's good about what you're saying and what I'd like to plant a seed on with everybody is we don't want to lose our clients if they have to write 5 offers or 7 offers to get a house. It's really important we keep our relationship with our client intact, right, through this really challenging market. And so what Sarita's doing that I think is really smart is she's showing that she's a rock star. Look, I'm in communication. I'm first in the know here. If they're going to pass, it's because their rock star agent guided them. And really, one of the best things we can do at this point with our clients is remain in really good contact and be a good agent to our clients because they'll buy a house, right? Our relationship's not with the house, it's with the client. And so I just wanted to kind of pause and point that out, Sarita.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. So what else is not working?
Not assuming we will succeed. I think that's one of the biggest ones. I think so many buyers agents are like, why bother? This is going to just be horrible. We're going to lose anyways. We lose every time. Why should I even try? Sorry, guys. We are trained, like think of baseball. You just should be swinging for the fence every time and not assuming that you're just going to strike out anyways. Why bother? I can't tell you how many times I've seen a little bit of fatigue out there. I know Mother's Day was a little bit of a anomaly last weekend, but the last couple of weekends, I've seen some fatigue where we've had fewer offers than we expected because so many expected that they just wouldn't be succeed, that they didn't bother. So I just think that your mindset is like the number one thing that you can control, and to assume that you will be successful. You will be successful or you will learn, right? And at some point you will be. I mean, there's some luck involved too, in that you get that one seller who really cares so much about finding the right buyer that they don't care that much about creating a frenzy. They just really want the stewardship of the home to go to a great family or a great person or whatever. And so you just have to assume you will succeed. I think that a lot of us just do ourselves in for no reason. I always tell my team too, go get a punching bag or something to vent so that you can be on your A game with your clients. Because guess what? They mirror and match our emotion. If we're defeatist, they're going to feel it. They're going to be like, why should I bother? You don't even believe we're going to get it. And so like figure out the mindset piece. I don't know how to turn my text messages off on my Mac. I'm sorry. I feel like I can turn the volume down, but then you won't hear me. I don't know.
Yeah. The thing about it, Sarita, though, on, just staying on this note is that I think is really, really important is that our clients, I lost it because of your little ding.
Oh, good.
Okay, that ding is going to drive.
That's good. I found the via kryptonite.
It's like, that's a really good thing too.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just totally lost it.
Just something mirror and match. You lit up when I said that.
I know what I was going to say. Now I know what I was going to say. We're contagious. What I was going to say is we are contagious. And what I say all the time to my clients, because I mean it, and it might just be the benefit of doing this as long as we've done it. I've done it about 20 years now. But I always, and I'm constantly saying this through the transaction, I'll say, Sarita, it always works out how it should. And there's always the moment where you look back and go, oh my God, remember when we were devastated we didn't get that one house? Thank God we didn't, because we're in the right house. It always happens that way.
I know why we're BFFs though. I swear I have the same conversation verbatim. I'm like, listen, I don't want to sound woo-woo, but it's going to work out the way it's supposed to. And I promise you, while you might shed a tear or two when we don't get it, you will be ecstatic when we get the right house, and you'll be thankful that this one didn't work. Like it just, and they have to really believe that. And I really do believe it too. And I even share anecdotes. Like I have one client, I still remember, she was like, I literally was like, I need to get her a therapist because she was so sad. She was like broken when we didn't get the house. So she was just devastated. They loved it. And they honestly did everything right too. So they felt like there must have been some gameplay or something. They just felt really cheated that they didn't get it. And then we found something else, like, I don't know, 7 days later. And then the agent, of course, it happens all the time, by the way, back to the communication piece. The agent calls me, hey, I know you loved it. Guess what? It's going sideways. And I still remember calling her going, hey, you know what? We were inspecting tomorrow, like on the new house that we found. And I'm like, hey, this might be your lucky day. That house you lost is back. She goes, Sarita, this isn't even my ego talking. We love this one better. And it was just like, oh my God. So I tell that story. Like, by the way, I don't know if I have this. I don't think I have it on my do list. Tell stories. Say them obviously
Yes.
confidentially.
Yes.
You don't need to share names, numbers, exact details, but share stories because it gives credibility. It makes people feel like they're not alone. It makes people understand the nuances of what's happening. And it's just a lot more effective than textbook. These are the 3 things we're going to do, and these are the 5 ways we're going to do it. Stories really matter. This is a human thing.
100%. Whenever I teach objection handling or someone wants me to do script stuff or whatever, I'm like, I don't use a lot of cheesy used car salesman scripts. I tell stories, right? There's a place for script. I like scripts, but there's some really bad scripts out there for objection handlers. And a lot of the times a good story will do better.
Yep.
Okay, what else is not working?
So what else is not working is not acknowledging the emotions, which I just gave a great example of that during the whole process, especially at the beginning, post offer, post acceptance, post inspection. You have to check in with your buyers all the time. And it's like this, it's a roller coaster. There's like ups where they're excited, and then there's like downs because they got what they wanted. I joke, it's like the dog chasing the car, and then the dog catches the car. Now what happens? Like there's a lot of emotions, and you just, hey, how you doing? I'm just picking up the phone because you must be freaking out, and there's always that valley of death in a transaction between the inspection and the appraisal where you've literally passed the baton to the lender, and you're definitely more in the passenger seat, if not in the back of the car, as opposed to driving. And so you just need to make sure you get that this is a really raw thing for them, and you have to continue to check in with them. Not having trust between the buyers and the agent. I will walk away from a buyer doing a consult if I feel like we're not on the same page. I need to know, like, okay, so I'm just going to bring up an example.
You and your buyer, not
between me and my buyers. I want my buyers to trust me, feel like I'm on their team, and that they're going to share everything with me. Literally, they should be saying to me, Sarita, we'd pay $800 for this house, but we'd really like to get it at $750. Let's just say that that's the example. I need them to tell me that and trust that I won't take it to $800 because they said so.
Yes.
Heck, I want to get it for $7 because guess what? I make a heck of a lot more in referrals than I do per transaction on commission for $50K. They know my words and my actions are congruent when they know that I actually get them a great deal.
We're staying on this. This is super, super important. So what do you say? How do you get a client, a buyer to do that?
Well, I mean, 1, it's really important to me, so I look for it. 2, I will fire a client that we don't have that. But 3, I also know that, I just say to them let's say you're my buyer, there's words and there's actions. I'm telling you, when you sign this buyer broker with me, that I am your agent. I'm going to work for you. Let's just talk. Yes, I make more money when the price is higher. But do you think I really care on what 2.5% is of $10,000? Or do you think maybe you'll tell your friends and family and everybody you know, including when you call me 20 years from now to sell your house, if I get you a better deal than what we're even talking about? What do you think, right? And they're like, yeah, we get it. And I go, and these are words. Let me show you some of the actions. When we're in the inspection period, we're not going to turn your search off. If you want to walk away, we're going to walk away with you. Like, you are stuck with us until we find the house, whether it's today, tomorrow, or 6 years from now. Not that I want it to take 6 years. If I take 6 months of my life for you to decide to even rent, I'm okay with that. The only thing I'm not okay with is for me to spend time away from my husband and kids and dinner to work my butt off for you, and then have your cousin write the offer.
Of course, you said of course food was going to be involved at some point.
Yeah. So I just say, like, clearly, like, how you lose with me is disrespecting your loyalty. But if you're loyal to me, I will fight like the dickens for you. And these are words, but I will show them to you with action. And then guess what? I tell them when we look at the house, I think we could do better. Or like, I had one client, they saw it with my buyer's agent, who was awesome. I was out of town. I wanted to fly through it with them because it was this little bit of a specialized house. And then I was like really honest with them. This is what I like about the house. It doesn't have living space on the main. I think we're okay because of the basement, but I want to make sure you're okay. Where's that couch going to go? Your big sectional that I saw, et cetera, et cetera. And I just score a lot of points being real with them. I'm not going to sit there and not talk about the couch and make sure that they don't notice before we close, right? That's just not who I am.
I love that. All right. That's great. I just really thank you for spending a little extra
Trust
time.
is really important. And then not understanding the meaning of highest and best. That is not working. Like, hey, there's a lot of strategies out there. I shared some of them in our last webinar, which I noticed is now in our chat too, for you guys to watch it. I was going through a hair color phase back then, so I don't even know what my hair color was. The thing that, like, these people who are like, well, Sarita, let's offer this, and then maybe they'll counter. They ain't gonna counter. We gotta swing for that fence. We gotta give everything with our might, and then we gotta hope that even if we're not the highest, we'll get selected and maybe massaged into terms that are a win-win. But this is not the like, oh, let's get the last word, or let's leave a cushion. And like the people who are doing that, I know I failed because I didn't do a great job setting expectations of what it's like out there. You have to hit it hard with the best you can do, and then try to figure out how to do even better. So with that, we can segue to what's working, and maybe we do it pretty quickly so we can open it up for questions. Again, I feel like sometimes I'm a fraud up here because like this is all common sense, but one thing hopefully you can get from me is the passion that I have for this business. I love it. And there's people that are lamenting this hot market as a buyer's agent. Oh, it sucks to be a buyer's agent. I wish I was a listing agent right now. And this is really hard. You should be thanking your stars. It's so horrible because number one, there's urgency like anything. I don't have to hear my client going on vacation for a month and coming back and writing an offer when they're back, because then they'll get even a better deal. They have to act by Sunday or Monday every weekend. It's a beautiful thing. Second, our toolkit and our swords are as sharp as it can be. This is the market where the better get better. And this is a market where the lazy or the not good are just, they're going to fail. Like they have to go back to working at the mall because you can't win by just dialing it in. You got to be actively involved with your A game. And so like view this as an opportunity. There will be it's an inflection point to get more business and to just be better. Lisa on my team and I were talking about how grateful we are on how well we know the market. We know every part of the city and exactly what's happening with pricing because we've written so many offers. We know exactly what agents to go to when we're looking for off-market inventory, which we're always looking for. In fact, here's hopefully one tip: talk to your stager and talk to your photographer because they know about stuff before it goes on the market. We maintain a hot list by just talking to our stager and saying, what are they staging next week? Because if they're staging it next week, it's going to go on the market next week or the week after. And that's our secret list. Now, it may not give us months, but it might give us 5 days of a head start on something that we know is coming. And then we will bully the agent to try to get in and or be the first in. And so
I love that outlook. I mean, that reminds me of that Wayne Dyer quote. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Yeah.
If you change the way you're looking at this market, that this is a learning opportunity, you're sharpening your saw, your clients think you're a rock star. They think you're Superman and Superwoman in this market when you get them a house, right?
Yep.
And so I love that.
So what is working? Some of these might be a little repetitive, but let me just go through them. Number one, preparing the buyer up front. Like I said, I scare them. Like we just had 0.8 months of inventory in Portland in March. We have 0.8 in April. In my 18 years doing this, that's the lowest I've ever seen. That means starting today at 12:40 p.m. Pacific, if there's no new listings in 3 weeks, everything will be sold at the current rate of sales. How do you feel about that? And oh, by the way, the number one, I shouldn't say the number one. One of the major conversations I have every day is maybe we should wait. This is too hot for us. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to wait? Our average price this month is $557. It was $447 last year, or whatever I might've gotten. They're on my Facebook, $547 versus $457. It's up $90K and we're up 1% to 2% every month. And the rates are really low. Do you want to wait?
Sarita, are you ready for this? For all of you guys watching and listening from Seattle, from the Puget Sound, I just did our network-wide meeting yesterday and I was blown away. Our appreciation in the Northwest Multiple Listing Service in 1 year, 25%.
We were 16 to 18%. Last year was
never experienced anything like that.
And so that means your house is going up 1.6 to 1.9, some months 2.3% month over month.
2 points a month.
Historically, it used to be 4% a year. right? And so even that buyer that needs to buy and sell in a year is likely going to make money, where before, we'd have the conversation of if you make 7% in 10 years, you're going to break even and rent for free. This is such a highly appreciating market that the only losers right now, in my opinion, are the ones who aren't getting in.
And it's
because they're going to price themselves out. Mm-hmm. We had a client who looked at a house that they saw in 2019 and they didn't buy, and they went and got a rental, and they can't believe how much that seller made in 2 years. Like, it was 6 figures, and it was just like, it hurts, right? And then they went and rented for 24 months. So building agent rapport, I think this is really important. Now, I want to say this, and I don't want to sound like a holier than thou or judgy or anything else. I just think you have to be a good person, and you have to be a good person from the get-go. You can't be like a jerk for 18 years and then realize agent rapport is important and agent reputation is important and then start being good. Like, you have to be responsive. You have to be communicative. You have to be high integrity. You have to be professional. And all of those things, if you do them from the very beginning, it pays off. You get a reputation where that agent's like, Sarita, I know you. I want to work with you. I know for me, in my heart, if there's 2 offers that are tied, and I know the agent and I've worked with them and they know me, it does help having a name like Sarita and doing this for 18 years, a unique name in my market. But if they know me, like, I have a good shot of getting the match, even if I'm not the highest, because what does every seller want? I say this all the time to my team. They want the best terms. Like, let's not lie about it. They want the best pricing, the best terms, but they want the lowest risk. They want the highest probability that that buyer is going to close. And guess what? We're the jockey of the horse race, right? They want the horse that's going to finish the race, and we're the ones who control that. And so therefore, when the appraisal doesn't come in, when they said as is, and now the house is falling apart and all those things, you need that professional agent that can coach them. Now, for all of you who are new agents, it doesn't mean that you're not going to be successful. I'm just saying, be responsive, be professional, look for help when you need help, look for mentorship, connect with that agent. Again, even just this last weekend, I had 3 where 3 of them where we were told we weren't going to be the highest, and we had the opportunity to improve and we didn't. And I'll tell you, like, they told me the number even. And then I had one where we submitted early, they called it off early, and they wanted to work with us. And we were able to put our deal together early because the agent, we were 50% down, we were straight, we were strong right out of the gate, and I communicated throughout. And use humor too. Like, hey, it's Mother's Day. I'd like to not work Sunday, so let's get this wrapped up on Saturday. What's it going to take? Yeah. Guess what? I mean, the only mouth that doesn't get fed is the one that doesn't get open, right? Like, you've got to ask. You got to, like, I will literally say, what's the highest? Just tell me the number. Now, a lot of times the agent will be like, Sarita, I can't disclose that. I'm like, well, you can't blame a girl for trying, I literally am I'm not doing it to win for me. I'm so passionate about my clients winning that I will try everything I can to maximize their odds.
Hey, listing agents, nobody in the planet says you can't disclose price. The only thing that our fiduciary says is that you can do whatever it takes to help your seller. So if your seller is okay with you sharing price to get them more money, you can do that. There's this fallacy going around that you can't share the highest.
Or the number of offers. Why not tell me the number of offers? If you tell me you have 8, that's going to help your seller. Why wouldn't you tell me? Yeah. So continual communication between building agent rapport and then continually communicating with them is key. That is working. Getting in early really matters. Shout out to my buyer's agents. They find out about stuff. We get in. If you get in first, and we know we use showing time in our market, and you look and every block is blacked out with the showing, right? But if you can get in at 8 or 9 and then by noon you have an offer there, already people are coming in and they know there's an offer or whatever, we have the advantage. I know in many situations they do the spreadsheet and order doesn't matter, but I do know, back to that second thing I said about seller risk, right? The person who's really serious, saw it early, had the most time to think about it, did everything right. The agent's got to know that hey, I really do these guys did everything right, right? So get in early. Bring in lender reinforcements.
Bring in the reinforcements.
Yeah, I make sure that the lender is calling the listing agent before they even get, like, I BCC them on the offer when I submit it. I make sure that the lender has everything he needs. The letter is going to be personalized, date, price, and the good faith estimate's going to go to the client to the penny, including the taxes for that house. Like, it's going to be like, there's going to be no surprises. We're going to know our closing costs. We're going to know our down. We're going to know what we might need to adjust if we are doing any kind of waiver. And then I make, before, like, the listing agent has 11 offers. They're not actually, they say they're going to vet everything, but they likely don't. And so for my lender to call, and sometimes they'll even send video, like, we're going to do what it takes for the agent to have some peace of mind that they're working with the A team, with me and the lender.
Yeah.
Pre-scheduling inspections. That works.
Okay, we have to talk about this one because it's very different for us than it is for you. So what does that mean for you?
So what I do on this is, it's just nothing major, but like, I have now, okay, let me first disclaimer. I can't tell the buyer what inspector to use, right? In general, when we are in escrow, we send them a list of all the Oregon approved.
This is where we start with 5 minutes of disclaimer.
Yes. So they're going to get all the pre-inspections and then inspectors. And then we typically say, these are like 3 or 4 we like. And my criteria is years of experience, not fatalist, really thorough, and a report on time. Like, that's kind of what I look for, right? But you can use whoever. And I don't want my, as a commissioned salesperson, I don't want you to say, oh, well, Sarita picked this guy who took a nap for 2 hours and didn't find anything wrong with the house, right? That being said, if they trust, back to that trust, if they trust us, what we'll do is we'll call the inspector and be like, hey, what do you've got? And can you hold a spot for me? And they'll hold, like, I had one, he held Monday at 9, right? So then the deadline was Sunday night. And I submitted the offer Saturday morning. I'm like, listen, if you can get this squared away, I'm ready to go. We did a 3-day business, it's 3-day inspection period, and we're inspecting Monday morning.
Okay.
So it is a strong suggestion with a timeline. And then because of that, I could do a 3-week close as well.
This is where I have a disclaimer. Seattle people, so Washington people, right? For us, what this means is that we immediately call the listing agents and we ask if they will accept pre-inspections. We make sure we have a 35P and we get in there. Now, Sarita, and all of you listening, not from our areas, it always shocks people. We actually have our buyers pay and do inspections before they even write offers.
Yeah. And I know that happens in many markets. In ours, I will be honest.
Does it happen in many markets?
Well, I've heard it, and I know I've heard it in other parts of the country, but I will say the hotter the listing, it's very difficult to get access to a house while there's showings going on to try to inspect it. But I will tell you, just even having it pre-scheduled and then saying, I have a very short inspection period. If you can get back to me in this time, which what I'm trying to do is avoid the rush and the frenzy, right? If I can get accepted when there's 3 offers instead of 14, then I've got a better shot at getting the house, right? In general, I tell my buyers, the more offers, the higher it's going to go. Like I said, there's no rule of thumb. If 4, it's X percent. If 8, it's Y percent. It's just like I said. So someone's asking, is that a bully offer? This isn't a bully offer. A bully offer is, in my opinion, you said it's due Sunday, but I'm giving you this offer with this deadline, and then if you don't accept it, we might change it or whatever. I say clearly, like, I'm happy to cancel this inspection if this doesn't work. But I do have one on hold, and I'm just letting you know, the faster you tell me, the faster we can go. So I don't think it's as much of a bully as a strong suggestion to let's get going fast. We don't have cycles to burn here if they want the timing. And a lot of times they want, the seller wants the contingency over with because they're going to go buy a house and we're giving them a free rep back to stay in the house. So they just want to get going fast. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of agents that are like, oh yeah, 10-day inspection period. We're going to inspect next week, not even the week of the offer, but the week after. So it does really help. Like, I can't tighten that inspection period, whether I have it pre-scheduled or not, if I didn't have the inspection relationships to know that we could get it inspected in 3 days or 5 days or 6 days.
So I do that all the time too. And I love doing it that way on the offers where we don't pre-inspect them before offer. I do very similar, Sarita. We're basically, what I tell my clients is our goal is to get that condition met within 24 hours. So I'll literally say, if you accept this tonight, just like you do, We'll be there at 9 a.m. You don't even have to change status. It's going to be pass or fail or whatever I'm going to say. We just want to inspect the asset super quick. I will have the forms with me. I'll call you. You can change status straight to pending by noon tomorrow. Like I try to kind of entice them that they don't have to go to pending inspection and then pending.
So there's a bunch of you that are watching this and probably cringing a little bit, right? And so I think I want to make sure you understand that don't mistake passion for the buyer and trying to get the result with us trying to strong arm other parties, because the truth is we're at the mercy of that listing agent. The last thing we want to do is tick them off. And so we're doing it in a place where we can offer value to their seller, right? And of course, it's a win for our buyer too. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But there are some sellers where they are hesitant. They don't want to have showings. They actually, even though they did everything, they just want this over with because they just really want certainty. They don't like the ambiguity of waiting and not knowing. Let's be honest, right? If you do submit an early offer, even with the deadline and you're respecting the deadline, if you submit an offer Friday morning and the deadline's Tuesday, let's say, that is awesome for a seller at the beginning. But if no offers show up, don't you think the buyer is going to feel like they overpaid? So this is a bird in the hand and it works both ways, right? Because at the very beginning, you don't really know what's going to play out. I'm so superstitious on my listings. I don't even set a deadline until I know I have an offer. My point is be passionate, be respectful, and find the value for the seller in accepting this and the value for the agent in accepting this, as opposed to my way or the highway. That's not what we're saying. But hey, I can shorten the inspection period if you can get me in sooner. But in order to pull off this close date, in order to pull off this inspection period, I need to know soon, right? That's what we're saying. And so that's a very fair thing. We could always extend close. We could always extend the inspection period. But if you want me to do this in 21 days, I can't take 4 days to wait to hear from you.
All this really is, Sarita, is solving a seller and a listing agent's fears, doubts, and problems. So, the two reasons a deal will not close, statistically speaking, are financing and inspection. So you ask yourself, how can I mitigate those two biggest risks? You talked about it earlier, right? So you're trying to address that in this, right? Because if you don't have a financing contingency, and if you don't have an inspection contingency, you just have a higher chance of closing. And then the other thing you're doing is, what are the biggest problems they're facing, right? Rent back. Do they need a quick close, long rent back? Do they need peace of mind so they can go make their offer this weekend? And so all we're trying to do is solve their problems for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And just with the interest of time, we probably have 5 minutes left. So a couple other things and then a few things we've already covered, but forget about used fridges. Forget about stuff that, I have these buyers that are oh, I want the washer dryer in the fridge. Let me show you Craigslist or the Best Buy circular, because graduation and Father's Day sales are coming up, right? Just stick to the script, meaning if MLS says they're taking their washer dryer, they're taking their washer dryer. We're not used property brokers, we're real estate brokers. Knowing that it takes a few tries to win, make sure the buyer and you get the, I'd love to be lucky the first time out, but it's that first pancake. It might not be round. It may not be golden brown, but it's going to make us better. I remember all my buyers, how does DocuSign work? What does line 23 mean? And next thing you know, they're on a bike ride signing an offer, right? They become very conditioned. They just have to kind of go through the motions. And so it's very educational. Yeah. And then last but not least, be willing to go for it without paying attention to others. Sure, I mentioned if there was 15 offers that you might have a loony and it's going to go out of hand. On the other side of it, I really instruct my buyers to what is that limit where $1 more makes you feel like you're going to throw up and that you overpaid. You've got to have that limit for that house. And don't worry too much about what's anyone saying, what other people are doing, because if they have a published deadline, we don't know what will happen in the last 2 hours of the last hour. So we can't go, well, there's only 4, let's do this. Now there's 8, let's do that. You just have to go, you know what? This is the number where if somebody else gets them, hallelujah to them. Good for them. I would give them my hearty congratulations because I wouldn't have paid that. And so that's really important, I think. So we do want to, the last thing, it's number 7 on my list, but make sure when we do that offer consultation, they know every way to strengthen their offers. We are doing things like waiving repairs. We are doing things like bridging the gap for the appraisal. That doesn't mean I'm telling them to do it. I'm telling them I've been on the receiving end for listings, and I've been writing other offers for other buyers. And these are the kinds of tactics people are employing. You may or may not be comfortable. My job is to tell you that people are doing this, and then you can decide if you feel comfortable to do it, and or if you're willing to do it for this house. So again, we're the menu. We're not going to tell them to order whatever, right? The crab cakes. We're just telling them we're the menu. We're giving you all the choices. For certain houses, you're going to go all in. Others, you're going to be indifferent, because there might be another floor plan like it that will come on in 6 months and you know it. But
and what's going to likely win is not telling them what to do. I mean, and that's exactly, I think what I want everyone to take away from this, whether or not you're going to use Sarita or my specific tactics, right? The important thing that you're hearing is communicating confidently up front, laying the groundwork, right? Helping your buyer put their battle armor on, helping coach them through what it's going to take to get there, and kind of frameworking the trust that you have, right, between a coach and a player that's kind of walking into the arena together. That's really what you're doing. You're walking into the arena together. And so whether all these tactics, all the scripts that her and I use, doesn't really matter. What you should get out of this is that, managing expectations, you guys, you've heard me say this a million times. 99% of your problems in real estate will be solved by managing expectations properly. Really.
And yeah, I think we got specific, and our goal isn't to tell you what to do in your market. We're not even saying what we do is the way to go. We're just, I think, mindset, trust with the buyers, great communication, and being willing to understand and articulate what it takes to win, and leaving it up to the client to decide what they're willing to do. That's really what this game is about. But one thing you should see from me anyways is the passion for this, not being intimidated, and really feeling lucky that we're in a position where we can help our buyers find houses, even if it takes a few tries. Like, they need people that are strong with their skill set, have great agent relationships, and are willing to work really hard for them, right? And so hopefully this gets you jazzed a little bit. Instead of feeling defeated as a buyer's agent, we really do have a unique opportunity in a market that couldn't be more urgent with regards to decision making. And I do think we're all, the ones that are standing at the end of this, we're all going to be better agents as a result.
Yeah. Hey, Sarita, in the couple minutes we have left, I love Leah Bradshaw's question, and I think it's a good way to end this, because I think it's kind of the 10,000-pound gorilla. First-time home buyers, and Leah, I'm going to add something, first-time home buyers and or newer agents. So, first-time home buyers are really scared to waive inspection and appraisals and everything. And I think sometimes newer agents don't have the confidence to do everything we're talking about. So we have first-time home buyers and we have newer agents. What advice would you give any agent on either one of those two things?
First-time home buyers should really pick a strong agent, because that strong agent can coach them. First-time home buyers, though, I have a lender that gives me all FHA deals that are 3% down or 5% down, which, again, on the outside looking in, that's a tough client, right? Because there is a little bit of down payment snobbery on, even though the bank's money is as green as the buyers, the higher the down payment, the stronger the offer. And we've been successful with every one of them. And because honestly, with first-time home buyers, you should be grateful. I think when clients have constraints, the more constraints a buyer may have, the more clear it is on what will fit and what won't. I always joke about my one client that had a Ford F-150. It had to fit in the garage. It was, as much as first I made the mistake of suggesting we get rid of the truck, which is like suggesting they get rid of their kid. And so then we would just go measure the garage. And guess what? As tight as a puzzle that was, it became really clear. So first-time home buyers, because they have very limited down payment many times, and they can't go much higher than asking, and they can't bridge certain things, makes it really clear on what we can look for and why. Advice to new agents: become a student of the craft, shadow other agents, ask questions, watch these replays. Every time you write an offer, you get better. And if you feel like you're not in a position to win for your buyer, get a co-agent, get help, because I do think right now it's just really important to make sure that there's no stone unturned and trying everything we can for our buyers. So it's a great place to learn, but it's also like we don't have the luxury when we finally find the house to make sure, like you just want to make sure you maximize your odds for your success. That could be from a mentor, that could be from a broker, that could be just from a trusted agent. Hey, can I take you out to dinner and bounce a couple things off of you? Like people in general will help you, and so just ask for help though. Don't try so hard to be confident that you're like, oh, I got it. And then maybe you don't got it. So make sure that you know what you know and know what you don't know and are willing to ask for help.
I love that. Well, thank you for joining us, my friend. It means a lot. This was an awesome webinar. And I think that Hattie sent the link to the previous one that you did as well. And this lives on the Pivot Shift Ahead Facebook group in Facebook. And we also have a YouTube channel. You can really get all of our stuff on Ben Kinney Agent Training. Anytime we talk about downloads or replays, you might want to bookmark that. And next week, I'm gonna change your world in a very simple way. You don't have to do hot dog carts, latte stands, or anything. I'm gonna help you potentially double your business if you watch for an hour next week. So I think it's worth it, and that's gonna be on open houses. We will see you guys all next week. Thank you for joining us.